thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah, good morning, guys. That's right. It is Wednesday. It's Hemp Day, or Hump Day, whichever way you want to put it. December 4th, and today is Santa's List Day, you guys. Are you going to be naughty or nice? Which list are you going to be on this year? I'm
naughty.
You're on the naughty list, Dale?
For decades, yeah.
Is Jenny Beth here with us yet? Should be joining us shortly, if not. Oh, well, that's so unfortunate for her because it's Cabernet Franc Day today. Yep, she's missing out on the thirst. It's also Wildlife Conservation Day today. National Sock Day for all you people that lose your socks everywhere.
Isn't it an oxymoron, Jason? Wildlife Conservation Day? You're wild. You're living a wild life. You're not conservative at all, right?
Bro, I live that life. So, you know what I mean? It's a wild, wild world,
what about
Rico.
Temperaments and restraint. Is that what life is all about as a Republican, Jason?
Oh, God, here we go.
Family values.
Craziness. Already today. Well, Rico, you'll love this one. It's the day of the trap because it's National Dice Day. Everyone loves a good old dice game.
Ain't gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got CeeLo or Ship Captain Crew.
Yeah, I do love throwing them bones, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Ain't gonna lie.
You know what I love doing? I love collecting that money, bro. I love collecting the money more than I love throwing the dice. But
it's all about the snap. It's all about the snap. You know.
But I got a nasty throw. I mean, I've taken some record amounts of money off the dice table in Vegas. Shout out to everyone out there in MJ Biz, out there in Vegas, all the cannabis guys out there today, and girls. Don't want to leave out the girls. I just said that. I don't understand why you don't think I'm so inclusive.
However you identify, I hope you're getting lifted and enjoying your day.
Fair enough. It's also National Cookie Day today, you guys. For everyone that likes cookies, I bet Burner's excited today.
Shout out to Gilbert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
shout out to Burner.
I bet he's excited today, National Cookie Day. Well. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So thank you all for joining us from whatever platform you are joining us from. And kicking it off today, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the man dressed in all black, ready for the attack. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Jason, I'm not wearing that one bit of black. Just no.
Oh, now I can see you. Now I can see you now. Okay. Oh well, I was going on a gamble. Whatever.
Okay.
Good thing I wasn't at the dice table, right?
We're in a post-racial world now, so it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, post-racial.
My heart is very black.
Jason, am I wearing all brown today? Is that what you're saying?
Easy there, bro. I don't. How can you identify as brown, Sohum?
You can identify as what you want to identify as, Jason. It's America.
God.
I mean, mostly I just look down and look at the skin tone on my arm, and then that's how I identify as brown.
Is that how that works? Interesting.
It's
Yeah. Kind of
it's
visual creatures, right? Sohum.
That is one way. That is one way that it works.
I'm an old wood. White
like,
dude.
You're saying you like to call it like you see it, right?
Oh boy.
Anyways.
Oh boy.
right, so
you guys
I
love these jokes this morning.
I just love making Jason squirm around his internal woke heart.
It's definitely my heart is asleep.
He's like the Grinch that stole wokeness.
Oh God.
Stay woke, Jason.
And speaking of, my story, I got a special story today. It's all about Britney Griner. So legendary WNBA superstar Britney Griner returned home to the United States on December 9th, 2022, after being detained in Russia for nearly 10 months. Released early as part of a controversial high-profile prisoner exchange between U.S. and Russia, Russian gate agents found 2 timeless vape THC cartridges at the bottom of Griner's duffel bag, leading to a 9-year sentence of hard labor for attempting to smuggle illegal drugs into Russia, a nation famously strict on drug policy enforcement and punishments for those daring to challenge its system. Griner would be released in less than 300 days after the issue sparked explosive international debates about human rights, healthcare, gender gap wages, geopolitics, contradictory American values, and of course, cannabis as medicine. For Britney's freedom, the U.S. traded Victor Bout, a notorious Russian arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death. Her return was widely celebrated, but many critics complained that the exchange was recklessly lopsided due to numerous detained U.S. citizens and military vets with lower public profiles being leapfrogged for consideration at such a high cost. Either way, it marked the end of a challenging period for the star and her supporters. Next Monday marks the 2-year anniversary of the infamous homecoming. Along the way, Britney has earned another gold medal with the U.S. women's national team and at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, and has welcomed a baby boy into the world with wife Sherelle. Given the whole drama surrounding Griner's arrest was that she got popped for illegally attempting to enter a prohibited country with cannabis, many would have thought she'd speak up one way or the other about international or domestic cannabis policy. She hasn't. You'd have thought she'd speak up in support for others who found themselves in similar situations to hers here in America or abroad. She has not. She's mostly kept her thoughts on everything private until now. Dr. Shonda Macias, CEO of Women Grow, announced yesterday that Britney Griner would be a featured speaker at Women Grow's 2025 Leadership Summit on February 17th. The organization released a statement that read, "Empowering Women Leading Change, February 17th through 18th in Washington, D.C. In the wake of the 2024 elections, the Women Grow 2025 Leadership Summit is calling on women and their allies across all cannabis sectors and from every background to unite for the survival of the industry and fight for women's basic healthcare rights, the right to use cannabis as medicine." This year's summit, taking place from Monday, February 17th through Tuesday, February 18th, at the Gaylord National Resort in Harbor, Maryland, is going to be featuring 3-time Olympic gold medalist and 6-time WNBA All-Star Britney Griner. Her story of resilience in messaging, cultivating change, empowering women through personal leadership underscores the summit's mission. Call to band together for legalization, women's rights, and progress. The summit is about more than women fighting for cannabis legalization and women's basic rights to medicine. It is a sisterhood of power that intentionally supports and trusts in one another for the betterment of our country. Now is not the time to be divided. Bold words from an organization that over the years has fought several controversies within its own ranks, now calling for unity behind a former international prisoner who's never spoken out in support of the industry. Either way, 2 years later, we'll finally get to see what Griner stands on, where she stands on cannabis issues. I think it's a huge PR win for Macias and Women Grow, scoring the opportunity. will it matter? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. I hear from you guys.
I don't think so. I don't think so. After this election, I think that some of these groups that she is, championing are going to have to regroup and figure out how they fit in this. Cannabis has just not got all the oxygen in the room. Right. I mean, we all here because we're in the cannabis bubble. We're trying to move this forward. But you get outside the cannabis bubble, and it's like this is not on the top of the list of people's concerns. And this last election, I think there was a couple of shots, not just across the bow, but some shots right in the midships of some of these cultural groups. Yeah. And I don't know that they're going to be carrying a lot of water for a lot of interest groups until we get through at least the first 100 days of Trump's administration. Let some of the dust settle here. And this is going to be right after he gets inaugurated. And trust me, they're going to be hunting down illegal aliens who are criminals and things like that. There's going to be shit flying everywhere. South Korea is a mess. Syria's heated up again. And so, I mean, I'm just not hopeful we're going to get very far with these groups. But, I'm always willing to listen and see where it goes.
You are so right, Dale, about that. South Korea is a total mess. That their leader Lee, he has to go. Like he's a crazy leftist. He needs to jump ship immediately.
Leftist.
He needs to come visit Manhattan because they shoot you on the streets.
I think you got that backwards, buddy.
He's not a leftist at all. He's far right and tried to pull a Donald Trump without the support.
He's not. Lee is not. No, Lee is not. No,
yes,
that's not
Lee
true.
is not a leftist, man. You need to check yourself. You need to check your facts on that.
Bro.
That's crazy.
All right, let's keep it on Britney Griner.
Yeah,
fair enough. We'll keep it on BG. We'll keep it on BG.
We won't dive into other lanes of fake news.
But I mean, honestly, for one, props to Women Grow for still being around. I haven't heard too much from them in years. I remember going to their first leadership summit in Denver years ago, like 2015, I think it was. I'm glad to hear they're still around, and it speaks to a bigger issue in the cannabis industry where businesses' margins have been getting squeezed for years just due to the collapse in wholesale prices and a number of other market factors. And we have to remember that a lot of these interest groups, whether they're policy organizations or a group like Women Grow, rely on contributions from operators and cannabis businesses. So when those margins get squeezed out, it makes it a lot harder for these other organizations to operate and generate revenue and host summits like this. So I'm glad that they're able to have this event, and they've gotten Britney to come and speak because, like you said, we haven't heard too much from her since her homecoming. I'm sure that she has a lot to talk about, but I guess we'll find out what she has to say.
I would really want to hear not just from Jenny Beth, because obviously she's the conservative side of the conversation. I'd like to hear from liberal women, like where they're standing right now, if they're going to change their messaging to get anything passed. Because my concern is the utter backlash towards, like the I'm not going to say woke because that's a gentrified fucking word.
Is it?
I'm not even.
Is it gentrified?
Because the way that you and your cohorts, Jason, have hijacked that word is not what the fuck it means.
It is what it means.
When it comes to like
we've defined it.
When it comes to gender,
it already had a definition. You don't get to define it.
Right.
Everyone else wants to change their definitions. We can change some definitions too.
Let me
just saying
this, please, Jason. All right. So when it comes to gender issues, when it comes to queer issues, Shonda Macias and her words in this statement, it's more about women fighting for cannabis legalization and the basic rights to medicine. Sisterhood of Power internationally supports trust in one another for the betterment of the country and empowering women and access to health, women's health and everything like that. Is it still a good idea? I would just like to know. There's a serious questioning here. Is it still a good idea for liberal women's group that really they're not looking to rabble rouse, they're actually looking to get shit done? If you know that the incoming administration is diametrically opposed to that kind of verbiage, is it even effective to use that if you're trying to move the needle politically?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I really understand what your question is, Rico.
Talk to them about it's a continuation of our conversation yesterday and the day before. If you know Trump and his lackeys are coming into office, they care about money. You know, they
Yep.
care about the economy.
That's right.
They told you exactly what matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
we don't
saying
care
that
about
it's
your
all about
feelings.
women-
We don't care
yeah,
about your feelings.
It's all about like the unity around the things
No one
that
can-
lost.
You know what?
Hold on, let me-
Money, enriching people encourages unity, Rico.
So having your messaging surrounding something that literally just lost a huge election,
Mm-hmm.
is that the right move? Is that the right move to keep your messaging about that?
There's lots of people that always are going to choose to die on their sword, Rico.
So
I mean, there's another question to this too, though. Is Women Grow actually a policy-oriented organization, or are they a networking organization for women to get into cannabis and meet each other?
I always thought they were a networking organization. It was like a blunt brunch kind of thing.
Organization too. Like I've never viewed them, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been to many of their events in Denver. I've never perceived them to be a policy-oriented organization.
I've never have either.
I would argue the exact same, but when Dr. Shanda Macias took the helm there, it became a lot more political. And they've been involving themselves in, not very successful.
I have a question. I have a question.
These political hot button issues.
Super serious question for you, Rico.
Yep.
At this Women's Grow event, is there going to be a head shaving station?
I knew it was a non-serious question.
It does not say.
It does not appear. They're not going to have a barber shop.
Show up, Jason.
You guys feel what I'm saying. You guys feel what I'm saying, though, right?
I do.
I totally
if they want to be serious about this political conversation, it's not going to be a conversation if you're not saying anything that's going to even bring them to the table.
And I mean, this is it. Rico, you might agree with me on this, and this is where I think neoliberal ideology goes wrong so much of a time, where it's more to them about the messaging and coming across as inclusive, which, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with inclusivity and being respectful of all these issues and gender ideology and whatever that is. But to your point, a lot of the time is just about political positioning and messaging versus actually doing things that are effective in terms of getting, whether it's policy changed or whatever their objective is. And I think that's something that the Democratic Party and neoliberalism has gotten in their own way for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they're still in their own way. I mean, there needs to be a bloodletting inside the Democratic Party. Somebody's got to be the adult in the room and say, look, if we don't win the election, none of this shit matters. Okay. Yeah. So you got to take a step back and put your positions in context.
Yep.
And go sit down and ask questions, shut your fucking mouth and open your ears and listen to people and see how you can find some unity here. Because, my concern is this is going to be another one of those groups that splinters the political party as opposed to unifies it. Mm-hmm. And right now, the Democrats lost their ass across the board. And I think it was political malpractice at the top. I'd like to know where all this goddamn money went. But they tried to bring all this identity politics forward, and the voters went, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Now, did we learn any lessons from that? And I'm just not sure, because people are still in shock about what happened. But, I'm an old-fashioned Democrat. And, I think we need to close the door and have some adults in the room tell people, be pragmatic, be realistic here. We support your causes. But if nobody else can say anything, and you, without being called a racist or a misogynist or a homophobe or whatever, if you disagree with people who think they're smarter than you, and you're just told you're stupid if you don't agree with me, no, that dog don't hunt no more. So we need to sit down and have some real come to Jesus talks about how this party moves forward, or they can, just get their popcorn and sit on the sidelines and hear from the sidelines for a while.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to fact check Jason real quick.
Oh boy.
Beyonce did not get paid by the Kamala campaign. She's come out and provided her receipts that she actually paid out of pocket for her staff to go to whatever campaign event she went to.
Not buying that, bro. Not buying that bullshit, bro. Not buying that bullshit. I mean, the whole beehive is buzzing.
It doesn't matter if you buy it or not.
She was paying was it like $500,000 per 30 seconds on the Sphere?
Oh boy.
What do you guys like to say, Jason? Facts don't care about your feelings. But anyways, I mean, to your point,
just because she denies she was paid doesn't mean she wasn't paid. Sohum.
I mean, there would be receipts for that, and like
I'm sure that there are. I've seen a whole bunch of receipts.
Well, I'm sure you have.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have. But to Dale's point, what you're talking about, the Democratic Party, they're already just showing that they have not learned a goddamn thing from this election cycle.
They haven't. You're so right.
The earliest poll that I've seen about 2028 potential candidate, Kamala Harris is at the top of it by a landslide, and it's like, were you watching a different election than I was? Because obviously that was not the right strategy. And that has I can say that absent of how I feel about her as a candidate and her qualifications.
Right.
She lost the election.
I'm so glad that you're in. I'm so glad you at least have your big toe in the reality pool, Sohum.
I think the majority of us do. It's just the Democrats and the Democratic Party that do not. Like they're the ones like they're continuing not to listen, and they wonder why people didn't show up and vote for them, man. And I think it goes back to me about this particular story. I support queer rights. I support, the person's right to choose like who they want to be with, what they want to do, like all that stuff. I do wholeheartedly believe that Britney Griner and the case surrounding Britney Griner, the mystery of what happened, what didn't happen, that can be a unifying moment for a lot of us. But my thoughts just on the words in the press release yesterday is like, you're being polarizing with the words that you're using here. And making it political when it doesn't have to.
And is it necessary? That's the real question. Is it necessary? Is it necessary in this context? Is it necessary?
No, not at all.
I agree with you guys on that. I support everyone's rights to be as free as they want and make the choices that they want. But at the same time, just because you want to make certain choices in your life doesn't mean that you have to make those my realities, and that's just what it is.
You don't think anybody's doing that?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, Jason. Let's go to commercial.
Oh, look at this! Rico's calling for a commercial. Oh my goodness! Oh man, let's kick it off. And congratulations to Anna's daughter who just got her driver's license yesterday. Congratulations! Yeah, watch out! Stay out of the streets of Long Beach.
Full self-drive on the Tesla coming soon.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's Joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
And we are back, you guys.
That's right, y'all. We are back. And come to the stage next. When he is not gaslighting the entire nation, he's here with us, gaslighting the shit out of me, Dale, and Sohum. Trying to throw up bait that, red meat that he swears that we're going to latch on to, but he doesn't know that we've got internet, we've got Google, and we actually do check for facts before we just say shit out of our mouths.
Really?
But it doesn't matter to him.
We also have eyes.
Yeah, we have eyes,
boy.
we have ears, we have fingers. We can do all kinds of things to find information, but it doesn't matter because Jason Beck is here in the building and he's going to say whatever the hell he wants to. Here to break us off with the second story of the day, the High at 9 News head honcho, the highest Republican in every room, Jason Beck. Jason.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Man. I have a great story. There was a story that came out. I hope everyone checked out Jesse's original piece that he did on this on Monday. And shout out to Jesse. He's in the room watching us on X right now this morning. So much love to everyone joining us on X this morning. But man, this is some I got some fantastic news for you guys today. Fantastic news, and it's going to have all the lefties, all the Trump haters just going berserk in cannabis today. You guys can't wait to deliver this. Because a Trump banking priority catches a second wind, you guys. That's right. A public lobbying campaign by Silicon Valley titans is breathing in new life into a Republican bank regulatory priority that is poised for a major comeback, you guys. Oh, man. During the second Trump administration, you guys. Oh, boy. Republicans are gearing up to revive a push for federal fair access, in quotation marks, regulations that would prescribe when banks can decline to serve certain customers. Banking regulators pursued a fair access rule at the very end of the first Trump administration in a bid to ensure that politically controversial businesses such as gun manufacturers and fossil fuel companies couldn't be blocked from accessing banking services. But the effort was killed soon after President Joe Biden took office amid opposition from banks and progressive groups and all the lefties, which said the proposal would force lenders to do business with risky companies and was legally unsound, you guys. Now, key players in the cryptocurrency industry and Silicon Valley are helping to revive the issue and uncovering new bipartisan interest in it. Venture capitalist Mark Anderson, whose firm invests in crypto startups, said last week on the Joe Rogan Experience that some tech founders have been cut off from banking services due to actions by Biden-appointed regulators. Those remarks went viral, igniting complaints by participants in the digital asset space about what they describe as attempts to debank the industry. They say pressure from regulators has prompted lenders to avoid doing business with crypto firms. The issue has caught the eye of lawmakers on Capitol Hill and advisors to President-elect Donald Trump, including Elon Musk. Oh, yeah. Raising the prospect that it could become a priority next year. In a quote, "I don't see how this doesn't get addressed right away, as literally as January priority, not like 100 days priority," said Brian Brooks, who spearheaded the attempt to enact a fair access rule while serving as acting controller of the currency during the first Trump term. In an additional quote, "The combination of Elon's energy and Mark Anderson's viral comments has added momentum to the campaign," he said. Not to mention the coverage on High at 9 News. Two new twists are poised to change the dynamics this time around, they say. First, the issue is drawing new interest from Democrats, pro-crypto lawmakers on the left, including Representative Richie Torres of New York and Willie Nickel of North Carolina, have backed up Anderson's complaints on social media in recent days, signaling support for an effort to prevent regulators from pressing banks to deny services to some customers. And Representative Maxine Waters of California, the top Democrat on the House Financial Services Committee, suggested that she could find common ground in this area with Republicans in an interview with our Eleanor Mueller prior to the election. Waters said she doesn't, in quotes, believe that an American citizen should have their bank accounts closed down and nobody tells them why, or you have nowhere to appeal. I mean, I find that kind of interesting that she's saying that because she's been allowing this thing to happen since the Obama administration. But nonetheless, you know what? I'm going to allow her to be able to evolve on this. Second, the move could also draw support from another surprising corner. That's right, the banking industry itself. Banks opposed the OCC's fair access rule during the last Trump term, but a raft of new state laws seeking to discourage the lenders from cutting ties with certain customers for political or social reasons could change that calculus. Representative Andy Barr, a Kentucky Republican, that's my buddy, I like Andy Barr, it's a good guy, who's running to lead the Financial Services Panel and has championed fair access legislation, said earlier this year that banks are warming up to setting a federal standard on the issue. Barr has partnered with Senator Kevin Cramer, Republican from North Dakota, on legislation that has support from several key players in the Senate, including incoming banking
Banking Chair Tim Scott, Republican from South Carolina, and Vice Presidential-elect J.D. Vance. But despite an unprecedented support from some new corners, crypto skeptics remain critical of the push. Dennis Keller, CEO of the financial watchdog group Better Markets, called the complaints from Anderson and the crypto industry typical baseless billionaire claims. In a quote, they say, if legislation is going to be considered, it should have a very thorough hearing that focuses on and finds a fact-based reason, not a political argument, that a law is necessary, he said, because a law on fair access can be used against the banking and financial industry in a way that will not only harm investors and markets, but undermine financial stability. Man, this guy sounds like he's taking talking points from Project Sam from Kevin Sabet, but nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. Relief could be coming soon to the cannabis industry and all of us that have been debanked by these woke ass policies. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
This is hilarious because now it's the party supposedly that believes in free markets and the business's right to do what they want are now saying that they want to force banks to bank customers that they don't want to bank. Shouldn't No. That's not. No. You are totally misconfused on that, Sohum. Okay.
How am I? This was an Obama era policy that gave regulators the ability to say that people in the cannabis space, people in cryptocurrency or whatnot, that they had the right to debank them just based off of that affiliation, which is straight up discriminatory.
But that's not what it is, though. It's their compliance department and their risk management department conducting an analysis and evaluating whether or not they want to do business with that customer. Yes, that is how it works.
It's not, bro.
It is absolutely how it works.
You're totally twisted on your thought process.
And look, I've been debanked and blacklisted from many major banks and brokerage firms because of my affiliation with the cannabis industry. So yes, from that perspective, I absolutely would like some relief on that. But this entire story is just hilarious because, and I watched that clip of the interview from Mark Andreessen of Andreessen Horowitz, not Anderson, on Joe Rogan, and the claims that he's making, there's not really any evidence to back up the fact that people have been Joe Rogan because they were conservative. Because they were conservatives. There's no evidence to show that people have actually been debanked because of their political views. That is not true. That is just bullshit. That is complete and utter bullshit.
Yeah, but you know what? There's so much discord has been sown over the past few years that people just believe that, and if anything is to be learned from this last election cycle, go out and say what the fuck you want to say and not be checked for saying what you want to say. And you know what? Policy is going to be formed from the bullshit that you're saying because. Well, Donald Trump and
banks don't want to work with crypto. It's not because of their political.
Sohum. Jesse Barney says that you need to watch the episode from Monday, like the full episode of the Joe Rogan podcast, and the Operation Choke Point is absolutely real, and Obama created that.
Oh, I'm not saying
it's true. We're going down a rabbit hole.
We're not going.
I love rabbit holes, bro. I love it. But I'm happy to go down this trail.
The issue with the reason that major banks don't want to work with crypto companies is because there has been rampant.
It's because they're competition.
Massive fraud. No, what are you talking about?
So much fraud, dude.
There's been so much fraud in that industry. Look at Sam Bankman-Fried and what happened to FTX. The reason they don't want to do that is because they're taking on immense risk and they don't know whether the operator is conducting a Ponzi scheme that's going to fuck them over at the end of the day, or whether it's a legitimate business.
A brand new token, a brand new coin is being minted, pumped, and dumped right now as we speak.
So are tons of cannabis stocks.
Thousands of people, hundreds of people, however many people are getting ripped off right now, and they can't do shit about it. And that's gonna just be commonplace.
Even if it's a stable coin and not a shit coin or a meme coin, it doesn't matter because those assets fluctuate in value so much that it's a massive risk for a bank to take that capital onto their books.
I can't believe you're taking this position, Sohum. I'm shocked. I'm shocked right now.
I can't believe that conservatives are taking the position that they want to force banks to bank certain customers.
I think they should. I think they should. It's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional for them to be debanking U.S. citizens because they're in a certain industry.
Where in the Constitution are you guaranteed the right to open a fucking deposit account? Please show me that.
Right.
All over
How
it,
long
bro.
has it been since Obama's been in office and you guys are still blaming him for shit? Like, come on, Jason.
I mean, we'll be blaming Obama for things for years because of some of his policies. So don't worry about that, Rico. We got plenty of things to blame Obama for.
We already know that you're gonna do that. That doesn't make
just keep on going back in time, man. It's George Washington's fault. We're all here, man.
Stop it. Stop the ridiculousness. Stop the ridiculousness.
It's the forefathers' fault for not guaranteeing our right to hold deposit accounts.
I can't believe that you're defending Operation Choke Point. Sohum.
That's not a fucking real thing.
Operation Choke Point is a real thing. That is a real freaking thing.
There something called Operation Choke Point, but it has not been used the way that conservatives have.
Yes, it has. 100% has. No,
it has not.
Bro, you are tripping. I can totally show it. The show's not long enough for me to pull up all this evidence, but yeah, we'll definitely.
Let me just say this, guy. As the only one on this platform who's actually studied the Constitution and been tested on it, there ain't a goddamn thing in the Constitution about banking. It's been a mess since George Washington signed the first Banking Act in his first term. And big problem is risk. Bankers are risk averse. I've had multiple accounts closed down. No one told me why. It fucking pissed me off. I knew exactly why because I was a cannabis lawyer, but it's still money laundering because it's a federal crime. And these guys, their butts pucker up when you talk about potential crimes.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to fix that. I think we need a federal law to fix that. And I think interstate commerce is the authority to do it under. Okay. Mm-hmm. But it's not there right now. And bankers are the most conservative people out there. If there's any kind of risk that they're going to lose their ass, they're not going to take it unless you force them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where is this conservative argument coming from that debanking somebody, denying them service at your business is unconstitutional? Like, that is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my life. In every business, in fact, wasn't it conservatives that just took cases to the Supreme Court about cake makers having the right to deny service to LGBTQ customers because they just don't agree with their politics? Like,
no, that's a totally different argument. So
no, it's not. It's a business that has the right to deny service to a person. That's it.
Totally different type of arguments. Sohum, but that's cute. I'm glad that you decided to bring that. And I can't believe that you are advocating for Operation Choke Point.
I'm not advocating
for these banks and their corrupt policies and whatnot. And you are actually affected by them.
I'm not advocating.
This is what Democrats do. They advocate for the policies that hurt them.
I'm
not a Democrat and I'm not advocating for the policy.
Stop even going for it. The projection is real, and the gaslighting is untethered right now. So you're giving him more power by feeding into his bullshit.
Stop it! It's not bullshit. It's real shit. Real talk, bro.
No, Jason, bullshit, thank you. I got a really good laugh from that this morning.
I'm glad I can make you laugh. I'm always here to put a smile on everyone's face.
I'm gonna go back to Chase Bank and tell them that they have to open an account for me because it's my constitutional right to have an account there. See how that works.
I think you should. Tell them. I tell them, hey, you can either open up my account today, or right after January, you're gonna be forced to open up an account for me. Yeah, that's what you should tell them.
I want to talk to Mr. Rothschild right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The banks are getting ready to tumble, bro. There's gonna be a whole new system coming in pretty soon. I cannot wait for all of this, bro.
Yeah, the system is called chaos.
Can't wait for January 20th.
The system is called chaos. Mm-hmm. I'm here for all of it, Jason. I'm right with you. Nothing, no rules, no nothing. Let's burn it down.
It's gonna be so great, bro. It's gonna be so great. Well,
I'm glad to hear you're on my page now, Jason.
Speaking of no rules, that's right. We have Mr. Attorney at Law, Mr. Dale Schafer, the man who defies all rules by defying gravity and pissing up ropes. That's right. He's the founder of Armada Law, and at one point in time did some time for a cannabis crime. Here to change up the narrative and switch it up a little bit is none other than Attorney at Law, Mr. Dale Schafer.
Oh.
Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite Tio Loco, notorious turd in everybody's punch bowl. My story started out yesterday as Chad Chronister, sheriff from the Tampa Bay area, was nominated by Trump on Saturday to head the DEA. And no sooner did I send that in, and Jason sent me an article from The Hill that said, no, he withdrew it. It's like,
his pullout game is strong, Dale.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people should have pulled out. We wouldn't have all the problems we're having right now. But that's a whole nother story. Is there a clause? Anyway, so Chad Chronister, in his withdrawal statement, said, I'm going to stick to the things I'm already doing around Tampa Bay, which I think is great, but it's not the story. As I went looking, I found an article out of Politico, and I think, Jason, you probably saw some of this too.
Yep.
Seems a good sheriff locked up a pastor during the COVID lockdown, and that didn't go over so well. And that's still one of those things that I don't think he's going to get around, because nobody in this administration or the Trump administration is anxious to go back, parse all the bullshit that happened during the COVID lockdown and take responsibility for it. There were some people in the Senate that were unhappy with, arresting a pastor for having services during the COVID lockdown, when the people that were dying were old farts like me and sick people, and the rest of the people weren't dying. No one wanted to look at this as a fact-based thing. It was hysteria, and we still haven't decided to do that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the thoughts I had when Chronister was in the running is he's actually publicly supported decriminalization of cannabis, which I support. He's also come out and publicly said the war on drugs, as it was fought as a prohibitionary approach, failed. It didn't work. And that's something I've been screaming about for a long time. Drug laws are what we call malum prohibitum. They're bad because society decides we're going to make them bad and prohibit them. They're not malum in se. They're not wrong in and of themselves. It's not lying, cheating, stealing, using violence and things like that. So when you have a prohibitionary law, as soon as you prohibit something, you make it valuable. This is not rocket science. Abraham Lincoln was screaming about this. So was Mark Twain. You try to tell people they can't have something, they're going to tell you, yeah, fuck you, watch me. The trap's right around the corner. And that's exactly what we have. And I was hoping we get somebody in the head of the DEA recognize this. Take your focus off of weed. Just stop it. Don't be chomping at the bit. Fentanyl is a big problem right now. The problem with fentanyl is not just the drug itself. It's the United States' insatiable appetite for drugs of despair. I mean, people are using drugs of despair in this country, and they're killing them. And we can't keep locking people up to get out of this. People just aren't happy in this country, and they think drugs will fix it. DEA has been in the forefront of having their head up their ass about the drug war. All they're into is power, rather than let's take a bigger, broader perspective. Let's go to 30,000 feet. Don't give it to the medical profession exclusively. Don't give it to law enforcement exclusively. Let's see if we can work out some way here, because when they closed all the mental health hospitals down in the 60s, kicked them all out, there was nothing you could realistically do with people who, use an old term, were addicted to drugs. Drug addiction is a problem in this country. The rest of the world is making billions off of our drug addiction. We don't seem to have the capacity to work ourselves through this because the approaches are schizophrenic. I was hopeful we'd have someone in the head of the DEA that would, take your foot off the gas, and let's look at this from a different perspective. I don't know where we're going to be going now, because the heads of the DEA and the drug czars have typically been cops or prosecutors. This goes way back, way. Barry McCafferty was the first guy who came after me. He was a retired general. What in the actual fuck does he know about drugs? Nothing. He knows how to go out and beat people up and throw them in jail. That's been the approach. It has failed miserably, and the war on drugs, hands down, drugs won. So now what do we do? Okay. And this, I was hopeful, but now because it looks like because he locked a pastor up because he wouldn't, go through with all the nonsense in COVID, that he's off the table. Now who's going to be next? I don't know. Okay. This brings up one of the ongoing problems with cannabis, especially, is that we're thrown in the category of fentanyl because it's a drug, rather than looking at this as something different and gradating some of these drugs of abuse. Fentanyl is heroin, basically. And the opioids are very addictive. Meth's very addictive. Cocaine's very addictive. Nicotine's very addictive. So is alcohol. Cannabis, not so much so. Can we take a look at this from more of a scientific standpoint and stop filling the jails with people who fall into addiction and just struggle to get out? Okay. Now, I'm going to throw this back at you because this is one of those subjects that we could scream about for hours, and let's see what you guys have to say.
Before anybody else, I would like to hear Jason's response to this and Jason's take on why that individual left.
You know what? I actually, man, you know what it is. What's happening right now is there's a deep state coup. There's a deep state coup that's going on within these with these senators that don't want any type of change. This guy was hand chosen by incoming Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she had an amazing relationship with this sheriff as far as fighting crime and whatnot, while she was the Attorney General in Florida. And so it's just basically people are just really trying to stop the progress that Trump is going to do in Washington to try to hinder his whole agenda all the way around. And this just is what it is. These people are rhinos.
Put this man on Fox News. Put Jason on Fox News.
Throw me on Fox News. That'd be amazing.
In my life.
It's the truth. It's not even a spin. It's the truth.
So the truth is
the truth. Yeah.
He found out that he was too what you motherfuckers consider to be woke.
Stop it. Stop the cap, bro. Stop the cap. Stop it.
They opened his file and found out, oh yeah, he's a little too woke for my taste.
Oh, shout out to Joe Mackey who says "and you" on CNN, Rico.
And me on CNN. I don't fuck with mainstream news, but I'm for it. Let's get on it.
All that.
I'm going to be on News Nation myself.
All that.
I have been on News Nation.
Mm-hmm. No, I was actually on X Base last night in Trump Tuesdays, and we
sounds like the worst smelling room on earth.
Oh, it's fantastic room. It's fantastic room, and I encourage you to check it out Tuesday nights on X. Without a doubt.
What's X? You mean Twitter, right?
No, X. You know what? I'm done using the word Twitter. And someone gave me the best explanation as to why I should only use X.
Explanation?
Nope. No,
it's like Twitter-planation.
No, I think you're going to appreciate this, Rico. I think you will. I know. Sohum's going to hate it. Sohum's going to hate it, and he's only going to use the word Twitter because basically Twitter was when it was Twitter, it was the land of wokies and of silencing conservative voices and whatnot. And then Elon Musk came around and allowed for free speech on the platform, and changed it to X, and so therefore should be called X because I appreciate free speech, Rico.
I'll give you the other side of that. For one, the reason we call it Twitter and not X is because we use his birth name, not his colonizer name. Not the apartheid colonizer.
Were you
name.
Born as?
Yeah. Stop it.
But
Stop it.
To your point about censorship on the platform.
So you're saying really you support censorship when you say Twitter?
No, the censorship that happened was content moderation related to hate speech and racism and anti-Semitism. So if you're associating that with conservative ideology, that's on you, not on anybody else.
Stop the gaslighting, Sohum. All right.
Speaking of content moderation, though, too, I just love how Elon Musk comes out here and the actual results of Blue Sky versus Threads versus X with multiple users and multiple analysts posting the same exact shit. Certain words are getting suppressed on Twitter that are not getting suppressed anywhere else.
I will say this.
No, hold on. The content is actively being hidden on Twitter for saying certain things. It's not happening anywhere else. Why is that, Jason?
I will say this in regards. There is some content that is hidden on X, and I put out a tweet a while ago. I had it pinned at the top of my profile. Tweet, huh? So I hope as old habits die hard. X. I don't see that
that's the problem with calling it X is I don't understand how to call those things X's. You know what I mean?
Call
like
it
that
Twitter.
doesn't. Yeah.
Call it Twitter.
It's called a tweet.
Yeah, it's called a post. But nonetheless, my point being is that you still can't use hashtag 420 on X. Like it doesn't show up as a hashtag, and Elon Musk needs to fix that, and he also needs to allow for the ability for people in the cannabis space to have green checks instead of blue checks.
Well, let me just say this: the mainstream media is guilty as hell of stepping on First Amendment rights.
Yep.
I mean, and they're going to be exposed more and more here if they really tried to put their thumb on the scale. I mean, I'm an advocate for the First Amendment freedoms. And I don't want to say fuck your feelings, but the reason the First Amendment's there is because fuck your feelings. Yep. You have a right to say what you want to say. I think we need to teach more people to, hear bullshit when they hear it and recognize it and let people speak what they want to speak. Because this last election cycle, now, the pants are being pulled down about some of these executives at mainstream media trying to massage the message. And I just think that's a recipe for disaster. That's why we have the First Amendment. If you don't like what people say, you don't have to listen to them. If you try to shout them out or close them down, now that's insidious. It creates the response on the other side that is the same damn thing. And the best thing to do, whether you like it or not, is let people speak their piece. There are, lawsuits available to defame people. Otherwise, if you think somebody's stupid or their ideas are bullshit, you should be allowed to say that, and they should come back with a response or turn you off. I mean, that's how this has worked 200 plus years. And now with the ability to have these damn apps and bots move everything around, these problems started back when social media really got under control of these apps and these bots, and they move messages to you that are hyper-inflating somebody's message. When the average person say, yeah, you're full of shit, I never want to hear you again, that's all you keep seeing is that message in front of you. That's another thing we have to look at, because I think that skews the First Amendment point where does it really exist anymore?
Great.
But as a private business, they can do whatever they want. They're not.
They're not though. They're not private businesses because they want to. No.
Hey, Jason, we're at the we're way over time.
Oh damn.
Let's keep it rolling.
We're gonna keep this train rolling. We are gonna roll into our next commercial. Sorry about that, you guys. Are you all ready for America's new #1 D9 gummy line? That's right, we are bringing to you Parody Gummy. These vegan gummies are manufactured in a safe harbor facility, so they're gonna be clean and safe, and they're not gonna give you any of the runaround. Coming in, we have 3 amazing flavors for you. We have the Raspberry Riots. Also, we have the Sleepy Joes if you need something to help you sleep at night. And if you're feeling like raging and having a party time, that's right, we have the Pineapple Bad Hombre. If you're feeling like a bad hombre, make sure you head over to www.parodygummy.com and secure your bag today.
Okay.
No, it didn't end. It's still playing. But we're back. That was weird.
Delay.
That was weird.
Green, Jason.
That was weird. Sorry guys. I apologize. But nonetheless, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com.
Just saying, there's probably some IV fluids out there in the streets now.
I'm gonna bring Jenny. I'm gonna bring Jenny some Pedialyte when I go to see Dr. Barr today.
You know, as opposed to Pedia Heavy, some of these other cats out there. Am I right, Jason? Am I right?
Well, we're way over time. We got to introduce Sohum, bro.
Absolutely. Up next, y'all know who it is. It's the man with over a decade of nationwide cannabis tech experience. Recently moved his talents to Jason Beck, fading ATX.
It's Austin, bro. It's Austin. ATX is for people that can't spell.
Yes. He has refocused his grind and coming here to break us off with some Wednesday heat. None other than the legendary Sohum Shah.
Thank you, Rico. And
I got some applause for you.
Oh shit! Hold on, whoa, bro. Just jeez, Louise. There you go. Sorry, bro. So much happening all at the same time.
I appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about something I think we'll probably all be on the same page about, and it's the billions of dollars that have been wasted by our government of our tax money on fighting the war on drugs around the world. So the headline, and this is originally from Ben Adwin at Marijuana Moment, U.S. taxpayers spent almost $13 billion to fund the global war on drugs in the past decade, a report shows. A 47-page document jointly published by the Drug Policy Alliance, DPA, and Harm Reduction International, HRI, consists of what it describes as a follow-the-money data analysis that looks at anti-drug spending allocations across various government departments, as well as case studies from Colombia, Mexico, and the Philippines. The authors wrote that the analysis, quote, demonstrates how U.S. assistance has supported and expanded destructive and deadly anti-drug responses in low and middle-income countries around the world, end quote. The $13 billion figure, the report says, is more taxpayer money than the U.S. government spent over that decade on primary education or water supply and sanitation in low and middle income countries, and also greater than U.S. foreign aid over the same period for all of Southern Africa or Central America. It's also about 300 times the total amount of U.S. foreign aid over that decade for women's rights organizations in low and middle income countries around the world. DPA said in an email about the report that the topic is, quote, especially timely as President-elect Trump and members of his administration threaten to ramp up the global war on drugs and increase punitive responses to international drug markets, end quote. For fiscal year 2025 alone, the report says President Joe Biden requested $1 billion for international counter-narcotics activities, about half of which, or $480 million, would be allocated to the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA, while about $350 million would have gone to the State Department. The role of the United States in exporting the destructive war on drugs to other countries is unparalleled, DPA and HRI said in an executive summary of the findings. Since 1971, the U.S. has spent more than $1 trillion on the war on drugs, prioritizing law enforcement responses and fueling mass incarceration within its borders. It has also played a leading role in pushing and funding punitive responses to drugs internationally. In terms of money earmarked for global aid efforts, the report says a growing amount of drug war funding has even come from the same U.S. official development assistance budgets that are supposed to help end global poverty and support other sustainable development goals. The U.S. contributed more than half of the about $1 billion in official development assistance since 2013 that's been earmarked for counter-drug efforts. You can read more details about the report and some of the data that's coming out of Colombia and the Philippines, some of these other countries, and more of a breakdown of how this money is spent. But overall, I think we can agree that it's an asinine amount of money, especially if you think about what that money was originally earmarked for. And I think they made a very valid point in the executive summary talking about the new administration's goals for crackdown on fentanyl production, which obviously I think we all agree that fentanyl is a very dangerous drug and a scourge to society. But apparently we haven't learned anything after 50 years and more than $1 trillion that our prohibitionist policies have never once been an effective deterrent of human behavior. And we're just going to continue down the same path, it seems like. But this is Sohum reporting from the ATX. Let's kick it back to the team.
It's crazy. It's crazy, Sohum. You read so well to just disrespect your town like that by just saying the abbreviation for it.
I mean, I don't think anybody here thinks of it as disrespect.
Disrespect.
No.
It just is.
No.
You know what happens?
Well,
Jason,
this theme continues what I was talking about earlier about the United States approach to make things illegal, the malum prohibitum approach. And this started when we took over the Philippines just after the Spanish-American War, where the Catholic Church had reached an accommodation with the opium users, and we came in with our Protestant Christian leaders and just wanted to kick the shit out of them. That has continued to the day. It's more plausible in the eyes of these prohibitionists to keep throwing money to lock them up than it is, let's back up a little bit and see if we can find a different approach. Education, maybe, some health services. They just don't want to consider it. And that's a problem because, as I said before, in the war on drugs, drugs won.
Yes, they did. Drugs definitely won, without a doubt. Shout out to drugs.
It's saying 13 billion. That's just the trackable funding. It's not even. We're not even talking about like the Pentagon dark money, the dark budget.
That's the past decade. That's specific trackable funding that was specifically internationally. That's not even talking about domestic law enforcement at all.
Right. But you know what? We'd rather supply things that make us money. And lots of the people who are putting these politicians in office, they're getting paid off of this shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's probably important to note that the allocation that they're talking about to crack down on fentanyl, especially with the incoming Trump administration, is, I don't even think, related to drug policy so much as it is part of their overall strategy of isolationism and nativism and protectionist trade policies. And it's just another weapon that they want to use because, let's be real, a lot of that fentanyl is being produced in China and smuggled into the U.S. So
holy shit, you said some real shit right there, Sohum. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, some of us are will acknowledge facts when they present themselves.
I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed.
Leftists do, Jason. Leftists.
I'm so impressed facts. Right now. I'm so not impressed Democrat. Right now. So impressed.
No, but Jason, I'm gonna ask you, man. Like,
sure.
What does the 47th president Elon Musk think about the $13 billion going into the war on drugs globally? What is he gonna do about this? Is he gonna cut all the war on drugs funding?
I think no. A lot of it is gonna go into fentanyl eradication. I would call it eradicating.
But more war on drugs.
But I'm fine with this. I have no problem warring against fentanyl because fentanyl is a detriment to our communities, and too many people are addicted to it, and it is a serious problem that is just plaguing Americans. You know what I'm saying, from a public safety.
The same strategies that failed on all these other wars on drugs.
No, because the war on drugs was mainly on weed. It really wasn't on anything else. It was just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Because if you look at a number of cases, it all started with them with the smell of weed, and then they found other stuff and whatnot. And that's why. Hold on, Rico. That's why I like Kash Patel, the incoming FBI director, his whole thing, because what he wants to do is there's 7,000 FBI agents that work in the J. Edgar Hoover building in DC, and he said that he wants to either fire them all or turn them all into field agents so that they can actually fight crime and remove all the desk jobs, and he's going to turn that building into a museum for the deep state, and I'm 100% support of that.
Yeah,
he's a fucking dipshit.
Yeah, I'm sure all these tenured professionals anywhere along the ranks here are just going to listen to this guy who has so many more credentials than
they're 100%. They're going to fall in line or they're going to kick rocks.
That guy is not making it through a Senate confirmation hearing.
Like Mac 10 in the building, they are bowing down. Jason, gonna happen.
It's happening, bro. It's happening.
Does he think that the FBI does not need any type of office support? And look, I'm not a proponent of the FBI or federal law enforcement in any way, but it's like that makes zero sense. What his strategy and his approach is like. It's just dumb.
I'll tell you this. No, stop it. Sohum, cash me outside. How about that?
Okay, Cash App.
Cash App, yeah, exactly, bro. It's gonna be great, man. We're about to make America great again.
You think Matt Gaetz would be the Attorney General if he Cash Apped instead of Venmo'd?
Oh, I'm just stop it, bro. We're going to our final commercial. We're gonna be right back.
This plan would make marijuana legal, but would not remove all of the consequences. Explain that for us.
Why are they busting in my door after midnight over something that Illinois says is legal?
Right. We've run into so much cannabis. We've run out of places to put it.
Things are legalized, but it's not legalized completely.
My mini doc on legalization policy in Illinois is available for free streaming now at colememo.com/minidoc.
And we are
Let's
back,
see if
you guys.
Beth can come back from the dead here.
Yes.
Ready, girl, for your story?
You ready for your story, Jen? Yeah. Well, she is alive and well, even though she's probably not feeling that well. It is America's sweetheart who is not feeling sweet at heart today. She's the founder of Kind Cannabis and of Justice Serve, a 501c3 that helps people rehabilitate themselves after long incarceration stays. And hopefully there's going to be a whole bunch of people that Justice Serve is going to be able to help, because word on the streets is when Trump gets in, there's going to be a whole bunch of pardons coming out. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what Jenny Beth has to say today. That's right, it is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
But a labeling error has led to the recall of more than 3,000 cannabis gummies in Missouri. Flora Farms pulled back its Zen brand gummies off the shelves after state regulators found the food coloring ingredient wasn't listed on the label. While the ingredient itself isn't banned, Sammy Jo Freeman, spokeswoman for the Division of Cannabis Regulation, emphasized the importance of labeling to help consumers avoid potential allergens. Freeman reported one adverse reaction, though it did not require hospitalization. The issue wasn't caught during Missouri's rigorous approval process for marijuana product packaging and labeling, which focuses on including required information and avoiding designs that might appeal to children. The process, implemented after recreational marijuana was legalized in 2022, requires strict compliance with state rules, including plain packaging and limited colors. Flora Farms said it has already addressed the labeling issue and updated its product packaging to comply with regulations. For the latest updates, we'll be back with the story as we continue to see people fuck up, and that's what this is. It's just an egregious fuck up. There are reasons why you have compliance experts. And if you feel like placing a large packaging order and putting your product in it and then sending that out without having somebody compliance background review it based on what your packaging looks like and what the regulations say it may look like, this is just stay fumbled. So I'm gonna throw it back to you guys, and let's brush this along so I can go back to bed.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I will second what Jenny Beth said in terms of having placed some of these large Mylar bag orders. The amount of back and forth that we had between whatever the brand partner was, their counsel, our internal compliance, like that, you just have to go through the trouble, and you have to take the time and sometimes spend the money on outside counsel if you need to get that right. Because once, especially when you're ordering in bulk, once you place that order, it's done.
Yeah. I mean, but isn't an easy fix just asphyxiating a sticker on the bag to, you know what I'm saying, to adhere to the label? I mean, isn't that an easy fix? Because a lot of people do want to save money on the packaging.
There's a labor cost associated with that, you know, like that's not you're talking about that you're adding another step to.
I understand you're adding a touch point, but I mean, overall, in the greater scheme of things, if that is the necessary fix to still utilize that packaging, it's better than just throwing all that packaging away and wasting it, because that's the major cost in that.
100%. There's a cost associated with printing the new labels and putting them on.
What's that, Jenny?
The better thing to do would be not fuck up like this in the first place.
That's fair. I think that's a fair point too. You know what I mean? Yeah, make sure.
People make mistakes.
Let me know when I'm doing that review of Parody Gummy's packaging.
Yeah, people make mistakes, man.
Mistakes happen.
Yeah, they do, but these are costly mistakes, and you don't know how big this company is. This might be a game ender.
I mean, they're pretty big. They're a pretty good company. They're in a number of states.
Sick.
Fair.
Good thing they can write it off. You know, just write it off. Yeah.
Maybe they even have insurance for it. The insurance companies have no sense of humor about this. They got to put out money for a recall to fix it. They go headhunting. Who's responsible for this? And maybe we won't write a policy next time unless you tighten up your compliance department. This is a problem in these tightly regulated businesses. I mean, you don't find this when you go buy your breakfast cereal and it's got the same goddamn dye in it. You don't find these kind of problems because no one gives a shit. But in this industry, if you miss that one little thing, the font's the wrong size, whatever, I mean, they really can ruin your business.
Mm-hmm. That
well,
is
and it
very
sucks
true.
that it is an allergen and that there was somebody, even if it was just one person who had a reaction. That sucks.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Like there is a legitimate public safety concern with listing ingredients accurately on a package.
Now, did it say what because it was a food coloring agent, right? That they didn't label on there. Am I correct on that?
It was probably like a red 40 or something like that.
Red dye number 9.
Yeah, some number.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
ATX 40.
Oh, stop it! Stop the ridiculousness, you guys.
Something generally regarded as safe in our industry. Oh, it's not just a faux pas. It could kill your business if you don't jump through that hoop appropriately.
You want to roll into this last one, Jason?
Yep, I'm gonna roll into this last one. I got a good story, man. This is the never-ending saga of the Cornhuskers, you guys, because the Attorney General's office is preparing for Nebraska medical cannabis lawsuit appeal, you guys. That's right. The Nebraska Attorney General's office filed a second amended cross-complaint claim on Friday on behalf of Secretary of State Bob Envin in a lawsuit against 2 successful medical cannabis measures, you guys. The brief formally adds allegations of circulator fraud and widespread malfeasance to Evans' complaint. However, Lancaster County District Judge Susan Strong anticipated those arguments already last Tuesday when she dismissed the case and ruled in favor of the ballot sponsors behind Nebraskans for medical marijuana. The AG's office has not formally filed an appeal to the Nebraska Supreme Court, but Attorney General Mike Hilgers told the Nebraska Examiner on Monday that his office was, in quotes, taking advantage of court rules that allow a party to formally amend a cross-claim, even after a verdict, to conform to the evidence presented at the trial. In an additional quote, "It's just a post-trial motion," Hilger said on Monday, and he also says, "We want to make sure our case is fully prepared for an appeal." Strong said last week the specific allegations were, in quotes, not properly before the court, but were presented at trial. The judge in her ruling and questioned the specific circulator's credibility and said she found other witnesses to be more credible. She concluded that some of the circulator signatures were notarized outside the circulator's presence and lost their, in quotes, presumption of validity, you guys, and rejected what she described as Evans' numbers optional theory of widespread fraud and questioned whether it was allowed under the Nebraska Constitution. Even if it was, she said the evidence would be insufficient to invalidate the petitions. The petitions fulfill a constitutional and statutory requirement and are thus legally sufficient under Nebraska law, Strong wrote. Evanen and Hilgers joined Governor Jim Pillen, State Treasurer Tom Berlice, and State Auditor Mike Foley to unanimously certify the November election results on Monday, including the cannabis measures, and they are set to take effect within 10 days at Pillen's proclamation. A virtual hearing on Evans' newly filed complaint is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning, you guys. Man, oh man, the never-ending saga going on in Nebraska. Man, oh man, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, I gotta leave in a couple of minutes. I'm gonna just say my piece out real quickly here. I love Hilgard's hair.
He does have good hair.
Trying, dude. I wonder if he uses a CBD infused product because it looks fantastic.
I wonder if he has, remember those 80s, like those combs, those blow dryers with the comb attachments kinds of things. Like it looks like he has one of those.
I have no idea. I'm black. So.
You know what I'm talking about, Rico. That's cute.
I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't know.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess I don't even need to ask what party these people that run Nebraska belong to, because I think that's probably obvious. But sorry, am I hearing this right? They're engaging in election interference here. They're trying to invalidate initiatives, petitions that were actually approved by the voters in Nebraska? Is that right, Jason?
Yeah. Trust me, I understand. There's prohibitionists come in all forms. They're both Democrats and Republicans. Sohum.
But this is election interference, is it not?
I don't know if I would necessarily call it election interference. I would call it more election denial because they're denying the will of the people.
All election interference matters, Jason.
Dude,
say the words, Bart.
I'm with you guys on this. I'm with you guys on this. I don't understand why you guys are attacking me and like acting like I'm some election denier. Like they clearly won. Drugs won again, you guys, in Nebraska.
These are lawyers' games, guys. This is the shit that just drives me nuts. Can't put your case in front of a jury and then accept the result. They want to go argue and piss and moan. These are motions to amend the complaint to conform to proof is what we call these. That you don't have your ass hanging on appeal because, it's called malpractice when you don't do this stuff. But it just gets infuriating because it shouldn't be so hard to accept that when a certain percentage of the population says we want something and you go back and you try to take away their right to vote ab initio, go back and say, oh, you never had the right to vote for this because you didn't have enough of these votes. The voters have spoken. At some point, let the democracy speak and then move forward with that and quit trying to nitpick this shit. It just drives me nuts.
Yep. I'm with you, Dale. I'm with you on that, buddy. All the way. They need to stop the ridiculousness that just let this will of the people go through and stop trying to take a page out of Kristi Noem's book and trying to just hamper the will of the people.
Oh, good. No, man. Good. Question everything. Question all institutions. I'm all for it.
Rico, you're such a flip-flopper, bro. Such a flip-flopper.
What are you talking about, Jason?
You're such a flip-flopper.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm calling it how it is, man. I'm all about asking questions, and not letting some generations old institution tell me what is what. Right, Jason? March down to the Capitol right now and get Nebraska some damn medical marijuana. Tell you that.
Well, Jenny,
we should plan something for the Nebraska State Capitol on January 6th.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny. That's the end of the story.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of funny, you guys. That is kind of funny. Jenny, Leah Patrick in the chat, she says that she hopes that you feel better.
Thank you.
And we all hope you feel better too, Jenny.
Yes, and on that note, we are overtime here, so thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fan show on the left, getting their comments posted live on the big screen. Do we have any today, Jason?
No, not today. Not today. Did we have one? I didn't see it.
Oh no, I'm still living in yesterday. I don't know, man. I need.
That's possible. Together. I mean, you know what I mean. I get it, bro. I get it. You want to live in the past constantly on this show.
God. Man, I just love listening to these oldies. I'll tell you what. But also big love to the rest of the fantastic live audience and online supporters catching us across all media platforms. Big love to the folks out in X. I heard there's a crowd over there. Yeah. Maybe we have to go over there and tweet things up, bring back the past.
We post up on X.
Make Twitter great again. To our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. Thank you to our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping our lights on, Millie and Adam behind the scenes, keeping our AV struggles to a minimum. Thank you infinitely. As always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why we show up to read these stories every single day. Thank you, baby girl. You are so beautiful. It has been Wednesday, December 4th, 2024. Show's over. Y'all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News, America's #1 daily cannabis news show. We're gonna pop things right back out to Jenny, Beth. Give us some words of encouragement. Thank you for joining us today. You still look fantastic. And I'm not just gaslighting.
You're still America's sweetheart, Jenny.
If America had a heart.
I'm really trying to say, y'all have a good day. Be nice to people. I'm going to sleep.
She's going to take a nap.
Yeah, she said the age of wokeness is over. Go back to sleep, America.
That's
God
right.
Damn it.
That's right. The age of wokeness is over. Thank God.
All right, y'all.
All right. Y'all have a great day.